here are my notes. All right. So Becca, tell me, what was your life like before Juice Plus?
Yeah. So Christy, I actually had a couple different moments that stood out.
Huh?
One being before the product, and the second being when I was like, I have to do this, like my life depends on it, for other people. So the
What would
first,
you feel like you want to work on more?
probably the second one, because I feel like I got my health part. I have it pretty solid.
Yeah.
So the one that when I was like, I have to do this, and I'm already started crying, guys. It's so good. Is actually when my father-in-law passed away from a massive heart attack.
All right.
And when I went and I told my boss I was gonna have to be gone because he was in the hospital for several days. I told my boss I was gonna have to be gone. And he looked at me and said, I wasn't there, but he told me, he said, let the dead bury their dead. You need to be here. And I was like, oh, heck no. No way am I ever going to be subjected to that kind of overreaching power. And that's when I decided I had to build this. I had to build this so I could have freedom for my time and for my life. I had already started to gain my health back by that point, and but my time was where it was at.
Okay.
I'm already
So
snotting. Thanks.
I love it. This is great. Okay. So I'm going to point out, I'm going to like interview you, but I'm also going to do a little bit of training. This is what you're going to notice.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm just throwing the raw at you.
This is good. So you really want someone like Becca to be vulnerable like this. So it's really good. But I also want to point out, do you notice how she said, her father-in-law passed and the boss said, let the dead bury the dead. And then she immediately went to, I made a decision.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go deeper. This is the time where I want to squeeze the lemon into your wound. That's okay. Okay. So this is the part where I can say, where were you?
Yeah.
Tell me about your surroundings, like paint a picture. Because again, you're hypnotizing your audience. Anytime you watch TV, you go to the movies, you're hypnotizing yourself. Okay. You're putting pictures into their head. So let's take them into the room. What do you remember? Where you were at? What happened?
Yeah. I was in the hospital waiting room when we didn't know what was going to happen. And we were praying for a miracle, but he ended up passing still. And I remember the frustration, the anger, the sorrow, and kind of the helplessness. Because I was at his, I was like, I might lose my job right now, but I'm like, I can't care. Like, this is more important where I was at.
Yeah. Okay. So before you called your boss, did you expect that type of response from him?
A little bit maybe, but it was very shocking still. Yeah, it was shocking. I was just like, because he had just buried his dad. Like, and so I was just like, whoa, what the heck? That's kind of intense, especially for a grieving person.
Totally. Okay. So and she's already doing the homework for me. She told me feel words. She told me 4. I would probably recommend
go down to 3.
Picking your,
yeah.
The reason why, and 4 is okay. You never want to go over 4 because the brain can only focus on 3 or 4 numbers at a time. That's why our phone numbers are set up the way they are. So we can remember them in increments, right? But I would pick 3. And so you said frustration, anger, sorrow, and helplessness.
I say probably frustration, anger, and helplessness.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And then tell me a little bit more about the time that you felt like you were missing. Like, tell me a little bit more about that freedom of time that you were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you mean in that moment, or it just overall, or
in general? Like, what was the aha moment when you were talking to him? Like when you told him that you needed some time off, and he said, and I really want to make sure you say those words in your story, let the dead bury the dead. You need to be here, or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I write it all fast. But that's something that you want to put in because that's conversational. People want to feel like they're a part of the story with you instead of like speaking. So if you have a moment like that you can share a sound bite in your story, that's going to resonate with people. Mm-hmm. So you're on the phone with him and you tell him that. Tell me more.
Yeah. I'm trying to even really think of where to go here, Christy. There was so much going on in my head in those moments. At the time that I was missing, I was like, I didn't feel like I could take the time to grieve. I didn't feel like I could take the time to just be in that moment because I was so worried about losing my job. I mean, in that moment, I was just like, I might not have a job to go back to. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. Like, but again,
Yeah.
I just had to be like, I can't care because I know I have to be here, and for my husband's sake, if for nothing else.
Awesome. Okay, cool. That is Act 1. And I'm going to go back to it, but we're going to keep going first. Okay, so that's Act 1. And then, okay, this is like a transition point. And you said it already. You said, I never wanted to be subjected to, I think it was something about making a choice. Again, if somebody wrote it down, you know, type
Like
it in the
overreaching
chat.
power, that overreaching authority over my life.
There you go. Yeah. So I feel like that's a transition between Act 1 and Act 2. That's that moment where you're telling the audience something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something about this. Okay, so what did you do? We're in Act 2. So what is this moment where you said, I'm getting off of the island of Suck?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I fully understand like where you want me.
Okay, so you made a decision.
So this is great thing. You're practicing on me. This is great.
Yeah, no, this is great. Okay, so you're making this decision of like, I need to have my time freedom. I need to be able to be with my family, whether it's for good things or bad things, right? Yeah. So what was your next step? Like, what did you do? Were you already with the Juice Plus company at this time? The second time you re-enrolled? Like for me, like,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what was the next step?
So I started hammering out online events like no one's business. And I was doing more and more live events as well. Because not only was that impactful for my time, but also that my father-in-law died from a massive heart attack. And like your dad, it could have been prevented. And that was so heartbreaking. And I had shared Juice Plus with him, so I was thankful that I had, but he wasn't on it. And he was about to order and he never had the chance.
So that's what you want to say in there.
Yeah.
He was about to order, but he never had the chance. Yeah. So you started hosting events. You started talking to people. Like, what kind of words would you say that you did? Like, what did Becca do?
What did Becca do? Becca put her big girl panties on. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, and that's something you would say, right? Why wouldn't you? Would your friends hear you say that?
I mean, like, I would, but I'm like, if we're going to be like professional, like, but that is something that Becca would say. Like, Becca put her big girl panties on and had to stop caring about what other people thought, and instead caring about their future.
Yes, I can't write fast enough. You need to go back and listen to this and write it.
And I'm recording it on my phone too.
Oh, good. Okay. So you did that, right? That's Act 2. You get 30 seconds to do that. I want to make sure you include the part where, he died because of reasons that could have prevented, and he was about to order. Like, you're going to have to live with that regret.
A week and a half prior, when he was at our home on my couch, and he was like, I'm going to order in about 2 weeks or so. And he didn't make it to the 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. If there's time, please include that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're doing great. All right. We're on to Act 3. Act 3 is Pleasure Island. Where are you now?
Yes.
Who you are right now.
Yeah. So now I was able to walk away from that job because my income surpassed that job's income. I am now able to make my own schedule and do what I feel like I'm supposed to do and what I want to do. And since then, I've had other situations where I literally looked back and thought, I am so glad that I built this, because I wouldn't be able to do this if for instance, which I don't know where or if this could be incorporated in, but when my grandma had a massive heart attack and my parents were living in Africa, I didn't have to think twice about going up to be with her at the hospital. I didn't have to think twice
Yeah.
about it. I'm like, I'm on my way. Let's go. Because I had built this to that point where I didn't have to be subjected to a boss. And I could take my phone, and if I felt like working, if she was sleeping or whatever, but if I didn't, I had that freedom. And I still have that freedom.
Okay. And how do you feel now? You said instead of feeling frustration, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel excitement. That's the first word that comes to my mind
Okay.
instead of frustration.
All right. And then the next one, instead of feeling anger, how do you feel?
Joy, because I've been able to help so many
Okay.
people.
And
I've been able to help myself too.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, you're kind of breaking in and out, so I don't mean to like talk over
No,
you.
you're great. You're great. Thank you for bearing with this internet on this very rainy day.
Good.
Okay. The last one, instead of feeling helpless,
I feel very hopeful.
hopeful.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you believe?
Oh, so many things. Oh man. Is this are you meaning for like in this, like about this business?
I would, yes, without putting words in your mouth, I
Yeah.
would think back about Act 1 when this boss of yours told you what he said. And I would look at that as fuel to come up with your belief statement. My name is Becca, and I believe that.
Oh, Christy, this is oh, I'm so glad you chose me. I really am. I really am. But I'm just like,
I chose you. Thank you. You're welcome.
yes, thank you, Rebecca. You're awesome. I believe that we should have the freedom to choose how to spend our time and how, I feel like that's not as impactful. I'm just like trying to
Okay, can I
cut it out, you know? Yes, please.
I believe that no one should have to ask for time off when they lose a loved one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And being an affiliate with a global health company has allowed me to change that
Yeah.
for myself and for other people.
Ooh, okay.
I hope you remember that, because as soon as words come out, I don't remember what I said. So,
Oh, I recorded it. Don't worry.
okay.
Dan's recording.
This is like, I mean, I don't know if you can read my writing. So I'm going to review it back to you. Okay. And I'm going to do like a very horrible job because this is not my story. This is yours, but I just want you to hear your story.
Can I just close my eyes as you're doing
I was
it?
going to ask you to do that. Yes.
Okay,
Anytime. Yes. Okay. Where is my writing? Okay. So I'm sitting, and I'm paraphrasing all of this. I'm sitting at the hospital and we're praying that my father-in-law receives a miracle. But unfortunately, we lost him because of reasons that could have been prevented. I had to call my boss and tell them that I needed time off. And his response was, let the dead bury the dead. I felt frustrated. I felt anger, and I felt helpless. I never wanted to be subjected to someone else's approval of time off. And I knew that I needed to build my own freedom. Whatever you said, that was kind of shaky. I couldn't take the time to grieve because I was worried about paying my bills. And that's when Becca put her big girl pants on. Even though my father-in-law died from a massive heart attack, I decided I was going to do something about it. I look back to when he was in my living room a week and a half prior, and he said, sitting on the couch, that he was going to order in 2 weeks. He never got that time. So I started doing online events. I started doing live events. I started doing events that I wanted to do in my own time and my own freedom. And because of that, I was able to walk away from a job, and my income surpassed it. I make my own schedule. I do what I want. And I'm so glad I do, because when grandma was in the hospital, I didn't have to ask anyone for time off. I had the freedom. So instead of feeling frustrated, I feel excitement. Instead of feeling anger, I feel joy. I can help so many people, and I've helped myself. Instead of feeling helpless, I feel hopeful. My name is Becca, and I believe that we shouldn't have to ask for any time off when we lose a loved one, or whatever it was that I said, because I think the other one was better. All right, so that's your story at like a rough
Well, you had
draft.
me crying. So-
Okay,